one of the largest AI product design sessions in San Francisco, with over 500 people registered. In this session, we broke down how AI is transforming design, collapsing the wall between design and engineering, reshaping workflows, and pushing designers to become true product builders. Now, sit back, take notes, and enjoy one of the most insightful conversations on AI product design straight from San Francisco.
I'm Baishali. I lead marketing efforts at FlytBase. FlytBase is building an enterprise physical AI platform for large site operations with a specialty in drones. So we just basically automate drones for a living. I'll skip more about FlytBase, but again, thank you for joining in today. We had over 500 registrations, but we could only we had to limit. We are at capacity today. So before I get started, we are all here excited to see how AI is reshaping how we build products. So I'm curious about something. How many of you are wondering what job is product designers going to be secretly replacing moving forward? Let me guess a few options. How many of you think product designers are going to be taking up front-end developers' jobs? Show of hands. And okay, how many of you think it'll take up job of product managers? That's great. So yeah, without further ado, I know there's a lot of overwhelm that's happening thanks to AI. So I would like to introduce our founder and CEO, Nitin, on stage to just share a brief and set the tone for the event.
Hello everyone. Thanks Baishali. So again, thanks everyone for showing up, for taking the time. And what we figured is there are a lot of events happening in SF all the time. However, most of the events are focused on developers and designers or product managers. Product guys are not getting as much opportunity to meet each other, exchange ideas, and better understand what's going on. And at FlytBase, we care deeply about product function, and we have been doing stuff which is very, very different from how it used to be 8-10 months ago. So using all this AI and combination of tools, and how do you even think about building products? How do you think about shipping stuff? How do you build something which is far more sophisticated in a much shorter time? And we have seen magic happen. And we realize that there must be other designers who are witnessing something similar. And it's important that we come together and we exchange ideas and we learn from each other what each of us is discovering, right? Because the world has changed, and the sooner we kind of make an effort to experiment and figure out what these new roles will be and how we will be building and shipping products going forward, the better off we will be. Because whatever we learned earlier, whatever workflows we used to follow 1 year ago, those are not the best workflows anymore. So it's completely changed, and I'm sure many of you would resonate with that. So that is the whole idea of putting this event together, that let's come together, let's learn from some of the guys who are doing amazing work in product design, and that will spark conversations that will help us all rethink what better can we do in whatever we are building, whatever we are doing, and hopefully we'll all get to learn from each other and do things very, very differently going forward.
I'm Prathamesh, and I work in the product design team at FlytBase. Along with me, you will have to bear me for 30 minutes, but after that we have interesting talks from incredible speakers. So first of all, we have Lipton from Amazon. He's the lead UX, and he works on agentic interfaces and how they are shaping the future of UX. After that, we have Filip from Subframe. He's a designer co-founder at Subframe, and if you guys are exploring AI, you must have been aware about what Subframe does. It is similar to Figma, but they are solving the problem of design to code, and it is helping us become better builders as designers. So great to have him as well. And then we have Eric Liu, who is UX engineer at Render. So he'll be walking us through the workflows that he's using at his organization to be more than just a designer. And then we have Radhika. Radhika is a AI native product designer as well, and she will walk you through how to think about agentic interfaces and how the landscape of UI and patterns is changing overall in the market. So yeah, let's start. So before starting, I had a fundamental question to ask to set the tone. After that, obviously, we'll go through the workflows that we are using as designers. And at the end of the session, I will also want to understand how you guys are using AI in product design and how it is helping you fast track things. And we are also open for feedback. Along with me, we have 4 presenters. Like we are also exploring, and it is also new for us. AI is similar to everyone, and we are just exploring. If you have any feedback, any inputs, feel free to give it after the event. So yeah, the fundamental question is, what is our real job as designers? Anyone? Okay,
I think maybe to build good user experiences and in general building experiences.
Anybody else? Design. Okay. Yeah. We like do the job. That's it. Anybody else?
Agreed with product managers?
Means we have invited product managers so they can speak.
I'm a designer turned product manager.
Oh damn. So sad. It's okay. What was your answer?
Arguing with product manager.
Okay. Yes.
Translating business goals, users goals into the product.
Got it. Yes.
Being able to look at the stone and then subtract from it to make
Okay.
what it needs to be.
Sculpted.
Sell your design. Sell your design.
Sell your design. Okay.
I think about it as being valuable, useful, and feasible. So if the product is valuable, designers are usable, and developers make sure architects make it feasible.
Got it. A lot of answers. Like if I have to combine them, everything derives. Okay. Sorry.
I think I'm the only fashion designer here.
Okay.
Using AI in it. Thanks.
What do you think? What do you think is the real job for designer?
Combining technology with good taste and with commercial products and with the customer's needs.
Damn. Super good. Like I will subset all of these things into one bucket, and it is crafting user experiences. Now, even in fashion design, we craft experiences with the costume that we are creating, right? Even in graphic design, everything has to relate to the user experience, and user experience then derives business value, the goals, and everything can be subset under this title. Obviously, it is debatable, but for the sake of it. Then I want to talk about there has been a long gap between creating user experiences in the past, right? We had so many stakeholders. Now we used to create design and then we used to pass it on to our fellow developers. Now in that translation, we used to translate it in the language of code, and a lot of details used to get lost. And like there was a lot of you can relate with me if you are working in a product company and you are a product designer. Like you might have heard people saying the button won't work, the flows won't work, and the scope gets cut down, right? But recently, after AI, we have got more hands. We are able to do much more, and we are not filtered out with the stakeholders that we work with. We can build our ideas on our own, and we are not bound to follow the traditional processes. But with AI, right, it is not a magic tool. There is not a similar playbook that we can follow at this given time. Like previously, we knew whenever the PRD used to come to us, we can just brainstorm, then we'll create screens in Figma and we'll just hand off it to the developers, right? But right now with AI, everybody has different workflows, different combination of tools they are using, and everybody is trying to reach the outcome via some different method. And the most important thing is rather than some tools, it is important to have an adaptable mindset as a designer. Like sometimes we get bounded by, oh, I'll just design, I'll just think about these factors, but we don't think about factors which are much more than just design, which can impact and create value. So the main thing is how can we become orchestrators of the tools that we have? How do we use AI to fast track things? And what is the right combination that we can figure out? And this is the agenda that I had in my mind before hosting this event. Like there are a lot of people other than me who are using AI in a different way, but we don't know what is the right combination. But we can learn from each other and we can figure out how can we reach the desired outcome with a different set of tool structure, orchestration of layers. and that is why we are here today. My main aim is that I will walk you through the workflows that I am using at FlytBase. I'll keep it very practical, how we are using it and how we are able to ship designs. Then we also have presenters to talk about different topics with respect to AI and product design. Great. Are you on the same page? Yes. Yep. Thank you. So the only goal that we should have in our mind is how do we achieve 10x better speed and 10x better outcome. Now we have AI, we know fundamentally how product design works, but what do we do of that? We need to act faster, get the outcome faster so that it goes to the customers and we are able to derive value. We are able to give the experience that we talked about. So to kick off things, let me show you what I work on a daily basis and what is the job role that I have and what is the major factors in it. So yes, this is the dashboard of FlytBase. So
we should do a quick poll. How many of designers are already able to operate at say 10x of what they used to do a year ago? 10x, awesome. So it will be interesting now. The guys who raise their hands, we should all pick their brains and see what they are doing differently, because there are very few in this room who claim to be getting there, and many others need to learn from this.
Thank you, Nitin, for the poll. Coming back to the topic, and I was explaining what FlytBase does. So basically, FlytBase is a platform for drones, and users are able to perform remote flight operations using our platform. It is a drone autonomy software application, and you can see a fleet of drones here which we fly. And when we talk about such dashboard, right, the important thing is it has to be enterprise grade. We can't miss out on edge cases, like one missing out on or one poor user experience can lead to some drone crash or some mission critical failure, right? So this is the area that we operate in, and I will quickly walk you through how we are using AI in our workflow to fast track things. Before that, I had a question. You can just raise your hand, like to just know the presence of the room and how many of you are comfortable with different sort of tools. So, how many of you know what are projects in Claude or ChatGPT? Okay, a few of them. How many of you are big fan of Cursor? Okay, cool. Yeah. How many of you love Lovable? Damn. Okay, my guys. Great. How many of you know Claude Code? Great. Great. Okay. So I'll start. That will help me to articulate my presentation better and where to focus on. So basically, I am going to present two case studies from FlytBase. Both are different sort of projects, different sort of complexity, and different sort of goals to meet. So the first is where sometimes as designers we need to ship out something to test out, right, with the users. It is some demo or MVP. Now, people who are operating AI knows it is easier now to ship MVPs, demo things easily. But we had to rely on developers for that. But as designers, how can we do that? How can we ship something to test out things? How can we ship something to get the user feedback quickly, iterate over it, and then make it better? This is the first thing that I'll be talking about. And the second thing is, how do we make enterprise grade applications? Now, it is a hell lot tough to control any LLM, any AI tool, to control your UI and get such kind of outcome, right? So how are we able to fast track those things? How are we able to integrate our design system? How are we able to manage the complexity that comes with the design, right? And covering all the edge cases, the interactions and stuff. I will mostly focus on the second case study because it is the use case of most of the people here. Like they work in a product company and they need to build something which is existing to a dashboard. Creating something new is comparatively simpler than following design system and making something which needs to be enterprise grade and it needs to be scalable. It is not right. I write few lines of code and I ship it, and then tomorrow I won't be able to add a new feature to it. I won't be able to change the UI. So I'll be focusing on those factors and how are we using the existing process to get there. So the first case study, right? I'll keep it very short, very high level. So this is the dashboard. Now the users wanted a dashboard where they can create reports. I won't go much in detail. This is the overall purpose, and I thought, why not build just done screens? We can deliver the front end. I did not know how the backend will work. I did not know how the API integrations will be done. But I was like, at least I can ship the front end, right? So the workflow was like, if you guys are aware about projects in Claude, you can skip this. But I saw a lot of people are not aware about using projects in Claude ChatGPT. This is the most powerful thing. Basically, this acts as my brain. Whatever parameters as a designer I need to think, right? Now I need to think from the product standpoint, safety standpoint. I need to think from the hardware standpoint. So I try to fit all those contexts here, even our design system and what will be there. I will go give a quick walkthrough of the prompt, but on a high level, I try to fit the hardware specifications. I hope everybody is able to see this. Basically, I try to fit the hardware specification, the user personas, whatever context that you can't get easily and that I have. All those parameters I try to put it in the project file so that whenever Claude gives me an answer, it is thinking from all those parameters and giving me the result. So this is the first step, and then I start with normal brainstorming, and I come to a conclusion where I'm happy with the overall user flow. So basically, you start with the problem. My problem was I want to create a reporting dashboard for the user. Who is the user? What is the goal? What is the pain points? Similar to how we used to use FigJam, right? Similarly, I'm shifting that process to Claude so that I'm brainstorming with Claude rather than me brainstorming on my own and putting it into post-its in FigJam. Right? And once it is on a decent level, I put a simple prompt tell Claude to act as a prompt generator for me, and then you can just check out the prompt. It is fairly simple. The main highlight here is a lot of people do this, but they forget to tell Claude that divide the prompts into phases. Means even Claude can't think about of the entire application end to end. So I want Claude to think in phases, and then in phases give me the prompts. Similarly, I want Claude to divide the scope of entire application, divide it into chunks, and then break down the chunks for me into prompts so that it is easier for me to fit to the other LLM which will be coding and designing for me. So mostly I use Lovable for such stuff because I think I have tried all the tools, but I think if I ask for pop-up right to any LLM tool, I think Lovable will give the best pop-up considering all the UX factors and UI decisions. I know there are a lot of limitations with Lovable compared to Claude Code Cursor, but I will prefer beautiful UI over any other. So yes, before fitting the prompts that I get from Claude, right, I got a series of prompts here. Now my simple job is to feed the prompts one by one and I get a dashboard. But the important thing is, if I just feed the prompt, I'll get a dashboard, but it won't follow our design system. So for that, what we have done is, we have created this prompt, where I'll just walk you through this huge prompt. It is 16 page. So basically the master prompt says, what is our tech stack? What is the style guide that we have? Now, even with style guides, now the tool does not know what color to apply where. Now, if you have primary 100, where to use primary 100? Means the LLM does not know, right? So we have created some components, codes, and in natural language we have implemented what is the application of those hex codes or the color codes, so that the developer now knows for a button I have to use this, for a background I have to use this. And that's how I was able to create this application. It is in production, and I was able to share the GitHub repo to the developer rather than giving a Figma file. In the entire process I did not touch Figma at all. I was able to give this, and this is how the dashboard works. It is working, but to save up time I won't walk you through the entire application. So the major problem in this workflow is, you are able to ship something, but it is at MVP stage, and you are not sure the code that developer is writing, how good it is. It can mess up anytime. If somebody goes tomorrow, a developer goes tomorrow and it tries to add something, it can mess up. So projects like this are good for testing out things, to ship something which has a very small purpose. Now the purpose of this feature was to create reports, right? We were able to do that, we were able to achieve that, and we were able to get users on board to the feature and the idea of it. And as I was telling you, the major problems for the design system, now visually it looks like it is following the design system, but in the back it are just random hex codes. It are just random variables. It is not unified with the rest of the dashboard. So how do we achieve that? That is the second case study that I'll be talking about. So if you look at this dashboard, right? Now everything is within our design system, even the buttons. We want the buttons to be very specific. Like if you see the outline there, we want it like that. Now communicating all those things to a AI tool is super tough. Okay. For the first case study, do you guys have any questions before I proceed to the enterprise grade workflow or case study? Okay.
Have you tried using the same prompts with other like Base 44, V0, like other sort of platforms, and how does it compare? Because you said that you used mostly this one because of the UI. Are there other reasons, or in terms of use cases and value of what you're doing?
So there was a phase when I was experimenting with all the tools with the same prompts. So I figured out that Lovable gives you even better outcome. After a certain point, all those tools start hallucinating, right? And even the UI is not that great. I tried with V0, I tried with Bolt. It is able to give me good outcome at first, but whenever I try to fit something complex, now I have to change the entire layout. Then V0 and Bolt was not performing that great. Like there are a bunch of tools that do this job, even Figma make, but the UI is not great. It is not fine-tuned to give me good output in terms of UI and UX. And Lovable is able to hold the context to very last, and that is helping me. That was a major reason why I use Lovable and not those tools. Any other question? Okay.
Yeah. You might just, yeah, it would be difficult to get the mic.
I don't have a loud voice.
Okay, I'll take it.
So, you talked about how you go, when you're given a PRD, you use it
I did not get a PRD. I created it in Cloud.
Okay, so you use Cloud to brainstorm, and then you take that and input that into Lovable. You see some sort of UI, you take that code, put it in GitHub, and send it to your developers. In this whole process, you haven't seen a visual representation of what your code is, or what your design thinking is.
Yes.
When you're dealing with complexity in designing products, you need that kind of visual representation. How do you do that without using Figma at all?
Yes.
And how do you communicate that with your developers and all the stakeholders involved in your company?
Good question. So I try to answer this in the second case study because I'm covering that. Obviously, a very good point that you need some sort of visual to understand. When Claude gives you text, it is difficult to comprehend like how the UI will be. We think in terms of visuals, right? We have to interact. We have to see the visual in order to even map out the edge cases. So I try to cover that fact in the case study too. This is just the high level view. Even here, I did that thing that I will be sharing. Yes. So if I am not able to convey that in the second case study, please raise that. Thank you. Anyone else? No. I think I'm good to go.
A PM related question. You mentioned you use Cloud to generate a PRD. How did you? What was the quality good, and where is your source of truth to understand user intention and clarity? Yeah, can you talk more?
So a few things are basic in terms of when you talk to the user, right? You get the data from them. That I'm not replacing at all. So I got that feedback. I got the existing reports that users were using. I had all those data. I just had to pass it on to Cloud, and the output fairly depends upon how you use it. Like I love it more than my product managers. So
probably I can.
I think
add to that.
yes. He is the director of products at FlytBase.
So I work very close with Prathamesh. Hi, I'm Dheeraj. I'm director of products at FlytBase, also part of the founding team. So I think for both questions, there's a brief background about how AI is changing overall workflows for teams. Since January, what we have experimented is how can designers actually go and understand customers' problem. So designers have been, of course, going and interviewing customers for a very long time. That's been a very good practice. But once they interview, they're looking for certain things. They're not completely looking at end-to-end problem solving, or at least they were not. But now they can, because what we do in our design team is Prathamesh goes along with me to customer calls, understands exactly what they're trying to solve. And anyway, customers are describing that over a call in a meeting that is being recorded. So everything that customer has said is already available in an audio format. We just convert that transcript. So Prathamesh has that, he just puts it in Claude. Okay, this is the problem we are solving. Anything that he or I have to add, we have that as a post customer call discussion. If I have any thoughts, okay, Prathamesh, we should think about the scalability. Down the line, if we have multiple use cases and if we create this dashboard like this, we might have some problems. And any of those inputs just get into there and they get dumped into that, and then Prathamesh creates a PRD. That PRD often works better because I'm not the one evaluating that PRD, it's Prathamesh himself. That PRD is not for me to deliver it to designers. That PRD is for Prathamesh as a designer to use it to create the next stage, which he's going to create anyway. And he's not stopping even at the design. He's also going for the front end. And he's trying to become that end-to-end problem solver rather than having 3 people do it, in product manager, designer, developer, probably some QA as a 4th stage, etc. Rather than that, we are trying to do it as a seamless stage where one person is doing it. I would have loved to do it as a standalone. And I think it's amazing that AI is enabling some of us to do it. It was not simply possible. Just going deep in design is so much. And with AI, it is possible to go and understand customers. It is possible to go deep in design and then also go into okay, I'll implement this and I'll ship it.
What about 5 different customers have 7 different requests?
Yeah.
You build those things and they all don't quite match, and then now you're building this Frankenstein application as opposed to putting it together and saying, actually, those 7 requests are really these 2 things. When I build those 2 things, it should solve them, and it's a more of a now can go forward design. And that's traditionally what product managers kind of do. And I realize that maybe that slows things down, and if it's about optionality, you can build it out. But I'm wondering if you're almost doing it too quickly in a way that you're just creating all sorts of options that at some point you have this mess.
So definitely very relevant question, and it happened to us as well. To be honest, we are it's fortunate that we are a startup, so we have a very lean management. There's nobody to manage anything. All of us are decision makers in a way. So this cannot happen.
You don't have lots of customers right now.
We have lots of enterprise customers, from major oil and gas to public safety, government customers, etc. This is a critical infrastructure in terms of what they use. Okay, yeah, just since we have interesting question. So, important thing is the strategy that I explained cannot exist in a team where product managers are okay, I give you this PRD, go and do whatever you need. No, everybody will have to come together and think, how can we do everything together? So it cannot exist in a world where you are in a pre-AI era structure and designers are, okay, you are supposed to give design, and then we are trying to apply this strategy. It doesn't work very well because yes, of course, it's not going to be accepted. Yeah. So probably we'll take some more questions later. Yeah.
I think even he had one question. I will take it after the case study too. So yes, as he has mentioned, we work with enterprise customers, and most of the dashboards that we work with, right, on the FlytBase dashboard are super complicated in terms of layout, interactions. They are not like CRM tables that AI can flesh out easily. You have to think before even executing. Sometimes you have to communicate the layout itself rather than just the requirement to the LLM tools to be able to get the outcome. I met a lot of designers in SF recently, and the major thing that I found out was a lot of people are using AI to prototype things, to in the phase of discovery, understand things using Lovable and stuff, and then they are converting that things manually into Figma, and then that is the handover that they are giving, right? Yes, they agree. So, even I was doing that, and I figured out this was a deliverable for the mission planning. If you see the mission plan dashboard, right, it's super complicated, and the layouts are pretty unique. There is a left panel, there is a nested panel, You add waypoints on the map and you get the waypoints. Okay. Not bad. All these interactions are tough and it is difficult to make it in one shot using any tool. So even I was doing that where we were creating simulators for such things in a prototyping stage. Now it is easier for us to communicate those things. And then what we were doing is we were manually making screens in Figma. It obviously reduced the amount of screens that we used to make previously, but it is still a lot of effort, right? And I wanted to avoid it. Like after 6 to 7 months of exploring AI, I had lost all my control over Figma. I considered myself auto layout god, but I was not able to do the auto layout. And I was like, I have to avoid making so many screens. It is like a labor job to make one screen. That is good. I mean, that is the craft that we have. But then we have to manually duplicate it, add the pop-up, then just for communicating to the developers. How can we reduce that? How can we make a UI which is sufficient enough to replace Figma? And that's when I go to the next case study, which is this one. This is a dashboard that I created using Lovable, and then I took it out to Cloud Code. I will walk you through the dashboard quickly and what are the functions that it has and what kind of complexity it holds. Even if you see the layout, it's quite different. It is not like a CRM dashboard with tables, right? And it has all the interactions that are required. When I click on the vehicle, it populates the necessary things. All the parameters grounded to our context. It is not that AI has randomly put some things out. And then when you click on person, it also changes the interaction on the map. It changes the timeline view. If I play a video, I get the video here. And you can just play it. Wait, let it load. And you can add flag. You can create incidents. You can play it. You can full screen it. You can sync it with the timeline. You can add flags to the videos. And the flag is now gets here. The flag gets here. You can start incident. You see the indicator of starting the incident. You close the incident. You get the close incident panel. And when you focus basically in the video whatever events are happening, it just filters it out. Now to make all these states in Figma, it would take around 30 to 40 screens minimum, right? And then a developer will translate this to code. A lot of headache, and I wanted it to communicate all the possible states in this prototype itself, and it is closer to our design system. Like a few changes I might need, but it is like 80 to 90% of what I want. Similarly, I was able to communicate the layouts. If user wants to hide the left panel, the users will be able to do it. If they want to hide the center panel, they would be able to do it. If they want to hide the entire video and just see the events in the map, they are able to do it. And even the functionalities are cross-synced. Like if you click something on the map, it highlights it in the left panel in the timeline view. All those states I tried to cover in this prototype so that it reduces my effort in Figma. But now the problem is I can't just use this. Right? Because developers won't be able to use this code because I'm not a techie person. I don't know how Lovable has written the code. If it is good, it is bad. It will be overhead for a techie guy to take this code and then run directly. So you still need the Figma phase. And I don't know how to use Figma. Like what should I do? So firstly, I will explain you how I got to this prototype. And then what am I doing to use Figma and not to use it. So as I explained to you, everything started from a Cloud project. Every context, all the context of the dashboard was here. Even the system prompt that I showcased you, right? So whenever Cloud is giving me outputs, it is following our design variables. It knows what to use where and it is able to communicate to the Lovable. Then a very good hack. Whenever I brainstorm, I try to tell Cloud, give it into me in ASCII format so that I'm able to see the layout, how the structure is. It is called ASCII format and you are able to see the layout and you can just brainstorm the layout, finalize things. And now to answer your question, like I still need a visualization, right? How the cards will look. I don't know now, everything is text. So basically, that is the most important phase. Now I know on a high level that this will be the timeline This will be my source panel, this will be my primary content, the map will lie there, and this will be my top bar, right? I have this agreement with Claude. I am sure that this design will work for our users. After that, what I do is, I go to individual components, I make it into artifact, you can use any tool. This is the prototyping phase, like this is the discovery phase. And similarly, I create a lot of prototypes just to give myself clarity of the layout, of the decisions, and of all the things that are required. And this is enough to show any stakeholder. Now, before making the final thing, I got this validated from all the stakeholders that were involved. So it is not showing the left panel, but if I change the calendar, it shows the flights. It shows now this is not there in the final thing, but I tested it out. I knew there will be visibility issues here. I need to change the layout in terms of accumulating all the features. That's where the center panel came in, and this is my ideation phase. Similarly, I create such quick prototypes, like hundreds of them, so that I get clarity. Obviously, it like smokes up a lot of credits, but
How much time does it take to build one of these?
this is quite easy because you don't need to follow the design system. It is just prototypes, right? So it is fairly basic. Most of the time goes into brainstorming, and then as soon as you brainstorm, I showcase you the prompt, right? I tell it to act as a prompt generator, and whatever series of prompt it gives to me, I just blindly put it into level. I don't care if it is proper, if it is that I want, because I just want to see the visual. It is just for clarity. I am not anyways going to use these screens. Correct? Now I got this. Now I knew there are a lot of states, a lot of micro decisions that I have to take. How do I articulate that in that prototype and into documents? So I went to Grok. Now Grok is another favorite buddy of mine, where I use it to generate documents. So basically what I did is I brainstormed on all the features, all the edge cases. I grounded it to our context. Each and every line was verified by me on the functionality that I want. If you see the documents, right, I then took all the documents, I put it in Claude project so that now things that I have finalized on, I will start with that rather than starting from a blank canvas. And if you read the map component, everything is mentioned, like what should be shown, what should be the color of the indicator. If I click on the icon, what should move. So it should highlight the thing in timeline, it should also highlight the thing in the left panel. So everything was grounded here and everything was in the text format, because now I had clarity about how the UI is going to look, and also I have now the decisions. Now the only phase that was remaining was cooking the UI, getting the prototype out. And I now had the idea of how the layout will be. So I went to Figma. I can create layouts, right? It is just rectangles. I took the screenshot. I went to Claude. Sorry, it is not open. I went to Claude. I told Claude to make an artifact for me. I think this is it. Yes. I gave the image. This is what I created in Figma. I mentioned what is the events and incident panel, what is the details panel, what is the media player, what is the map and timeline. And then I told it to code it for me. Now, because I had the design system file in my project knowledge, it created the layout using our design system here itself. And then what I do is I copy the code, I go to Lovable, and I just paste the code and say, develop this for me. See, this is the code I got from Artifact. Never ending. And I was like, use this code and design and develop the dashboard as it is. That's it. And then it was able to ship out the layout. Now Lovable had the layout, Claude had the context of all the things that are required, what specific things that are required in the layouts. Now I just sync the communication between Claude and Lovable. And then I took the prompts from Lovable and it exactly told Lovable what to do where. Now it told fit, first of all, add events in the left panel. Then when I click on the event, what should be done? If manually I am doing this, a lot of people I see in cursor manually state all the things and then it becomes a huge task. Like Claude is smarter than me. It will figure out the best way to communicate. What should be done first, what should be done second, and what is the best way of communicating it in short. So I was able to do that and I get this output and I get this dashboard out. Now again the problem is, how will developers use this, because they can't use this code now, and I don't know Figma what to do. So basically, we use the HTML to Figma plugin. I copy the link, I come here, I paste it here. So that this is a plugin. HTML to design, right? And then I get a screen which is in auto layout. Great, like this is just 40% of the job done. Now the problem is I don't have the design system in place. I don't have the colors in place. It has used some random hex codes. If I go to the file, if I go to this primary button, right, it is using random hex code, like 43 something something. Yes, I now wanted my styles to be applied here, and if I go and apply the styles manually, it is like a lot of manual work for me to do that. So because it was closer to my design system, we had one intern. I told him, find me a plugin which can apply the styles based on the colors that we have used here. If I'm using black, find the closest color in my style guide and apply it here. And we were not able to find the plugin that way, and he just ended up creating and I coded it. So this is a plugin, Harmony. If I click on it, it will basically, let me select the screen. If I select the screen, I go to Harmony, and basically Harmony will analyze the screen for you, and basically you just have to then apply. It is loading right now. Processing nodes, 632 changes. Like it has to do 632 changes in order to apply my styles, spacing, font, and everything to this screen. I think Harmony has done its job. Let's see if it is using our design system or not. See, now it is using primary 200. Similarly, for all the colors that are there, right? We have applied our background level 2. Now I have my style guides in place. If I want to change something in Figma, a lot of people come and tell me that I have to change the UI that cursor is making. But I am not able to fine tune it, the padding spacing. But now I can do it, right? It is in Figma. We know how to change it. If I want to change the resolution of this video, I will be able to do it. If I want to change the padding from 8 to 12, I will be able to do it. And more. And even this plugin, right, that we built, it even changes the text styles for you. Is it visible here? Okay. See, body, medium. It is from our style guide. It is not like some random style guide. And now developers can use this. If you guys are aware about Figma MCP, they can use the Figma MCP, and then they can take this design out into code. And because it has design system, you will get the output that I showed you. This kind of output, because it is following our design system colors and the layouts that we want. And I had to do 0 efforts. I had to put 0 efforts into Figma. Everything I can just take it out, put it here, and I am able to reduce my Figma screens by a lot. And this is a deliverable along with the documents that I had created using Rock. Now it is easier for engineer to take that Figma screen, take those documents, and they are also going to use AI, right? They need something in text, they need something in visual. They just use these documents, and it is like making the job easier for them, because everything is defined here. They just have to feed the documents into empty files, whatever AI they are using, cursor, cloud code, and they are able to then verify the code themselves.
What I'd like to share with you today is about 2 new roles, one being a design technologist, like you saw in the previous presentation, and the other one is the emerging role of agent behavior designer. These are beginning to emerge now, and I also want to talk about why they matter to anyone practicing design today. So as you can see, design has never been static. In the late 90s, early 2000s, we had web designers focused on layouts. They coded in HTML, CSS. By the 2010s, that work had evolved into UX design, centering the user journey and usability. When smartphones took off in the mid-2010s, mobile pushed us to responsive design, forcing us to rethink patterns for touch and small screens. By the late 2010s and 2020s, design systems became essential, helping us to scale design consistently across huge teams and platforms. And today, where we are now, in the mid-2020s, agentic AI is pushing us into a new frontier. One where not just designing interfaces, but behaviors and reasoning patterns. Well, we can already see this shift in the job market. Roles mentioning AI in design are growing rapidly. What's interesting here is that many of these listings aren't just they're not just asking for designers who know Figma. They're asking for designers who can think about systems thinking, logic, orchestration, and data. So moving on to the first role is one of design technologists. So design technologists sit at the intersection of design and engineering. They don't just mock up flows in Figma, they build with the same tools that engineers use: code, APIs, model outputs, and real data. As you can see here, the main benefit here is speed. They can spin up working prototypes in days, even hours, not weeks, as you just saw in the previous presentation. In smaller companies, those prototypes could be 70 to 80% production rate, making handoff to engineering much smoother. That combination, using engineering-grade tools, rapid prototyping, agent behavior testing, is really what makes this role so critical in this next era of AI design. The second role I'd like to talk about is that of agent behavior designers. They work at this layer of logic and reasoning. They don't just design the interface, they map intents to structured decision pathways, so the agent knows not just what to do, but why. They create scaffolds and fallback behaviors for when things go wrong, because ambiguity is guaranteed. These are probabilistic outputs. They use tools like flowcharts, orchestration frameworks, prompt libraries to make reasoning patterns explicit. The main benefit here is really trust. By designing this reasoning layer, agent behavior designers make AI systems more predictable, reliable, and aligned with human goals. I really like this slide. After me talking about these two new roles, design technologist, agent behavior designer, the natural question is, why don't we already have people doing this? Isn't this somebody else's job already? And that's where a set of common assumptions come in. A lot of people I talk to, they assume these models will take care of it themselves, or that engineers already have it covered, or that they just wait for the next version of GPT or Claude, the problem will magically solve itself. Some people, they even hold these two conflicting beliefs at once. You believe that AI is an all-powerful black box that's coming for all of our jobs, but at the same exact time, it's also laughably incompetent, like ordering 18,000 cups of water at a taco restaurant drive-thru. You saw that story in the news. The truth is that neither extreme is right. These are working systems, but they are brittle. When we look at the assumptions versus what's actually happening in practice, we can see the gap very clearly. So to end here today, designers, the AI future needs you. You will not become obsolete. If today resonated, I'd love to keep this conversation going. I write free guides, case studies, more on Substack, I post on LinkedIn. I want to teach things like AI literacy, teaching designers and teams how to navigate this shift. Build the skills that will matter most next in the coming years, a lot sooner than you might think. It's all free. It's exactly the kind of knowledge you'll want if you came to this conference in the first place. So scan the QR code, subscribe, follow. And remember, the future of design is moving very quickly, and the goal here is to make sure that we're all ready for it. With that, thank you very much.
All right, thanks for having me. It's gonna be a hard act to follow because I don't believe you did all of that in 48 hours. But yeah, let's kick it off. We've seen a lot of tools. Who here, right, has vibe coded before? Right, yeah, a lot of people. Who has vibe designed before? All right. So it's gonna be everyone at the end of this talk. So hey, I'm Filip. I'm a I'm a designer who codes. I have a technical background in art, and I chose the design path. And I'm also the co-founder of Subframe. And my other co-founder here, Urban, he's got stickers, so find him after this. And Subframe, we're an AI-powered design to code tool. So this is gonna go quick. Gonna dive a little bit about just like why bother working with AI and design and code and actually going out to try to build Subframe to solve that. A little bit about the black box in the room, and then we're just gonna go right into a demo. And I'm actually gonna just live demo. We're gonna do some vibe designing right in Subframe. So I think, like we've talked today, and as many designers know, right, the design process is still mostly waterfall. We come up with an idea and we start to draw it up, and it goes into higher fidelity, but we're stuck because when we're designing digital products, we're not actually building the thing, right? So at a certain point, we have to hand it over and let someone translate it, and usually you get something like this. And it's not the engineer's fault. Look, we're getting paid to be designers, to make things look good among the other things we do. But then we ask an engineer who's not a designer to go ahead and recreate what we drew, but only by writing code, right? It's kind of a very hard task. And that's because ultimately when we're designing software, code is the material, but we're designing in a different medium. And we need to basically design in the same material, which is code. And that way we could build a beautiful horse or app where really everyone, as the roles start to converge, can work on the same thing because it's all working with the same material. And if we're all working with the same material, it becomes less about your role maybe. It's more of like a choose your interface kind of tool. So Prati talked a lot about how he switches from different chat models, LLMs, back to AI code tools, back to Figma, and maybe that's kind of what we're doing, right? PMs might just want to chat, but we as designers are visual, and we're going to want that drag and drop visual interface, whereas engineers are usually working in that IDE or code editor. And a lot of this is because of AI, right? AI enables us to interface with code through these different modes, but it still feels like a black box. It still feels like a slot machine. You kind of don't know what you're going to get. You don't really know when it's going to score. And a lot of that has to do with what you put into AI, but also what you're getting out. And at Subframe, we're really trying to solve this for design. So much of when you're designing with AI, whether you're using Subframe or not, is about the context, as we saw, right? The design system is the basis of it. Documentation, design patterns, all the way to the prompts is everything that the AI considers, but the output also matters because as designers, we want the craft. We want the designs that are editable. We want the prototypes that are interactive. And at the end of it, we also want it to be real code. So let's put on my vibe designing hat. We also sell these on vibedesigning.co. It's a little side hustle. All right, and all of this could be happening right here as well. And all of this is code instantly. And so this is Subframe. A quick tour. We talked a lot about that context and the foundations. So at a high level, you get an entire design system already built for you that you could create custom components as well. Every single one of these components is actually React code. And every single one of these components, you could go in to design mode, where you could go in, and us designers are always tweaking the border radius. And whenever I do that, I have just updated the code that my front-end engineer is going to sync with his code base. So this becomes the actual single source of truth for your design system, where designers start to own the UI layer, because you could design these components the same way in Figma, but you don't have to ask an engineer anymore to build it for you or to make changes. All of this is powered by, again, the foundation, which is design systems. I think in some ways they're more important than ever. You could set up your palettes, your tokens, your colors. You could quickly change all the fonts for your entire type stack and really have this all documented in one place. Because our AI, when you start designing, is going to be using this exact system and it's already going to be in code. The magic here is that we all see a prompt box, and let's go ahead and start with that interface. Start with the chat. I'm gonna, let's make an event page for this event, maybe. So I'm just gonna copy this. And let's do, wait. I'm going to put the mic down just so I can type faster. Sorry about that. Sure. Yeah. Thanks. All right. Create a few different versions, because we're still exploring, of an event detail page for the following event.
Gotta capture your moments.
All right. And I pasted that in. Oh, does it have the name in here? Yeah, let's just fire this off. One thing related to context, is that this was a lot of the prompt for this specific ask, but we also have the system prompt that you can customize, and that gets applied to all your designs. It's a great place to really, spell out what you're working on and features, and even all the design documentation that's going to come. So now you see that we're in the editor, and we're similar to Figma, but right now we're focused on like a responsive page editor, so it really feels like you're designing in the browser on the left side. On the right side, we're actually generating 4 pages for you right now, up to 4 pages, especially for that early exploration phase, right, where you might want to look and pick a few different versions. This whole time, I could have just been designing something right here as well. Right, full editor with drag and drop, but let's wait for these designs to finish.
This part of demo sucks.
Do these designs use,
I'll take questions while we're
do
ready.
these designs use the design library, the components that you previously?
Yes, and it is.
And if you change one of the components while your design is already live, does it then go back to the file across the board and change every component?
Yeah, it works just like Figma components because they're real code components, and by default it's going to use all of those patterns. But you can bully the AI sometimes. Yeah.
How do you choose which model generates the images? One or is it different ones?
So. Yeah, what we're actually doing is we're using mostly Claude under the hood. We experiment with different models where it works best for the case as well. And yeah, we found the one that works best for CodeGen, but we also have a few different interfaces with different models. And so we picked the best one for that case. All right. Alright, so I've done many live demos before, and so I was prepared for this. Just with and stuff. You can see this is the exact same prompt. So you get to preview some of these pages here. We got different designs. And you might like one that's a good start, and you could just drop that in there. But maybe you like something from a different design, right? And this is the part where you don't always have to prompt. We're trying to figure out interactions that really work where you might just like this one over here, and you could just drag that in. So you could mix and match your designs, you could combine and iterate and keep asking follow-ups, or you could go back to design mode. You see your familiar layers panel. And you can, do your design thing, right? Like here, we actually want this, looks like, we should probably add a max width. And so you could basically design a page out. But designing entire pages isn't the only thing. We're always still thinking about all the little interactions you might do while you're already designing, right? So we could very quickly add these little plus buttons and say something like, add more actions for the event. And we could ask AI inline, right in context. And so that's why context ends up mattering so much. Context ends up mattering so much because you might be working on something very minute, or you might be working on entire pages or across flows. But let's go in and you can see that everything we did is already code that has been generated. And you can actually export this out to cursor, to bolt, to replit. It's actually also going to bring that same design system. So you get to keep that source, define your design system in Subframe, and then you can bring that so that when you prompt lovable or bolt to build a page out, it will use your components and your theme and your brand. But that's usually the process for handoff. We're very design driven, and you want to build out multiple pages and states, right? We saw that at a certain point, you really have to be design first. You need to show the different states. You need to ask the AI, can you make me an empty state?
So again, yes, I would, just a few tips here. Keep prompts focused and iterate. Instructional prompting is really helpful, so meta prompting, right? Ask clarifying questions before implementation has been very helpful. This is more of like a developer thing, but like iterate quickly, commit often, squash merge, cherry pick your commits, and then keep the velocity high. And obviously loop in designers as needed. And so the key learners here, right? Like designing in code immediately surfaces up any obstacles or limitations or edge cases that are actually core to the actual UX. Even like simple features, like, I mean, this feature looks really simple, right? But again, like there are a lot of like edge cases, async, error states, retry. Like, what if you have a loading state? What if you're loading with data in the cache? What if you have no data? What if you have a lot of data, right? So just basic stuff. And then like LMs thrive on constraints and also context, right? So like more is not always better. And I think the three pillars will be velocity, quality, and consistency of the actual output. So again, takeaways, I think AI can greatly accelerate design, while designers actually play an active role as part of this whole thing. And ultimately, I think that designing in code will supersede static mockups. And again, just going back to this, Figma is just a tool, right? It's a means to an end, and code is the same way. Software engineers aren't, meant to just write code. Maybe that's a core function of their job, but the end goal for everyone is to ship products. And like way back in my day, I remember using Photoshop 7 to do UI designs. Like not even Creative Suite, right? It was Photoshop 7, 2003, and so tools change very quickly, right? Photoshop, then there was InVision, there was Sketch, Figma, and Subframe is hopefully going to be. And what I love about Subframe is you're designing in the source. Like the code is the material, and that's actually what's really important. Thank you.
I know it's been a lot of time, so I'm quickly going to wrap up in 5 to 10 minutes. So I want you to imagine this, like since decades, we are designing for buttons, and designers are like creating content and layout, but that is shifting a lot right now. We are in the agentic era, and we are shifting from buttons and screens to intelligent layers. To introduce myself, I'm Radhika Bhoj, and I'm an AI native product designer, and I mostly work with startups to build their MVPs and 0 to 1 products. This year, I have deep dived into agentic UX, understanding how to design for agents and what are the agent frameworks. and I do also like to attend a lot of community events. And most of my learning in this space has been by attending all of these events and scouring the internet here and there. And that's why I'm here today. I'm also learning and here today to share my learnings and help you how can you get started with your journey as well. So my first question is, like, this year has all been about AI agents. So what do you guys think? What really is an AI agent according to you? Anyone wants to answer? Sure, like it's an AI agent is an autonomous software program. It's designed to perform tasks on users' behalf. But I'll give you one quick example. Like, think about self-driving cars. Like, for example, Tesla. They perceive the road, they reason about it, and then they act on it. It's simple. Or you're shopping on Amazon and you're just asking the agent, do this work for me, and everything is happening in the background. So over here, the agent is doing all of things in the background and users are just giving instructions. Now to talk about some real-world examples, like in domains like supply chain. You could imagine there is a supply chain agent in a pharmaceutical company, and there is some there is some shortage of paracetamol, and they want to order that. So the agent will do all of the work in the background and see that okay, we do not have enough in the inventory. Go ahead and order it. But what if it is some drug like insulin? So this is where design comes in space and human in the loop approach. This is where agent can't do everything by themselves and we need human oversight that okay, the agent needs to understand that this is a different type of drug and it needs human oversight. So that is where designers come into place, where we are designing for intelligence, understanding where and how to interact, how the humans would interact with agentic systems. So basically agents have agent capabilities and human capabilities, and in between lies the collaboration layer. So we are having a paradigm shift in 2025 right now. We are going from interface-centric design to intent-centric design. So earlier with interfaces, the focus is on screens and navigations, buttons, contents, and layouts. A user issues commands and there are like step-by-step guides and there are user flows. And a designer's main responsibilities was like arranging UI elements and layouts and how the UX would unfold. But right now with agentic systems, we are heading towards intent-centric design, so focus is more on outcomes and behaviors, where the users express their intent, that example like keep the stock full and safely, and do this for me. The user is just expressing intent and the work is just happening in the background. So as designers, we need to shape systems and we need to build for trust. So we are no longer building any tools or app as designers, we are building intelligence layers. And just a quick shout out, how many designers are here right now? That's great. So our role is shifting a lot. We are not just designing for any screens or any tool or any app. We need to think in a systems level thinking because we are heading towards building intelligence layers. So to design for intelligence, you need to understand how system works and how the intelligence works behind that. So you need to understand the logic behind that. So a very important thing to adapt as a designer right now is to shift to systems thinking, which even Joel presented in his presentation. You can start with like tracing one system at a time and keep asking questions of understanding what exactly is an AI agent, what it does, what it doesn't do, how the AI system works behind it. Because right now as designers, our job is not just about understanding design, and these are not just engineering questions, and you don't need to be an engineer or from a technical background to really get into these things. This is just a mindset. As a designer, you need to ingrain in yourself to start thinking in terms of systems and understand how the logic works behind it. I'd like to share like little basics about like how exactly agentic systems operates in the loop. It has like 4 building blocks to it: perception, reasoning, action, and reflection. where perception is like sensing the inputs of behaviors, like we heard in the talk before. There's a new role coming up as agent behavior designers. Then reasoning, like interpreting what exactly is going to happen and what are the next steps, what action the agent is going to take, what it is going to reflect into the UI. These are the basic building blocks to start with if you really want to start understanding what is AI agents and agentic UX. These are some simple questions I came up with, like the 6 essential questions you need to ask before getting into agentic UX or before even getting into Figma or any document. And these are around the core principles of agentic UX, like what is the agent responsible for? For example, it's a supply chain agent or any agent that what are the capabilities, what are the goals, when should it act on its own, when it should involve a human. The human-centered design and human-in-the-loop concept is where the designers need to come ahead and actually collaborate a lot with the developers and the tech team and keep them in the loop and keeping conversations around this. So how to really start learning about this, I just put out some 6 practical steps that has helped me in learning and designing for agents. First, understand the shift that we are shifting, design is changing, roles are emerging. So you really need to understand how it is shifting from interface-centric to intent-centric and how really design has evolved over the years to actually understand and be a part of this evolution. Try to learn about the core frameworks which are there, study perception, reasoning, memory, and action. These are the basic foundation of agents. And very important is asking the right questions to get all of the right answers. So questions like responsibility, autonomy, when the agent is going to escalate. And we are heading towards building relationships more. Now we don't have to just design for users, but we have to design for agents while keeping user at the forefront. So you can use tools like GPT, Nitin, or anything to simulate workflows and actually start building AI agents by yourself. And today we had some great talks and workflows today to get into how you can actually start building yourself, even as a designer, even if you are not that much into the technical side of things. And I would recommend test with real users because that is where you get real feedback and you understand and you start developing that mindset of, okay, now I need to think. There used to be a term that designers need to put themselves in users' shoes. Now I think that designers need to put themselves in agents' shoes, but keep users at the forefront. That is how I would like to summarize it in short. And at the end, keep building, follow communities like these, keep on learning and experimenting continuously. So that was it, a quick designer's guide into agentic UX. And it was really nice attending this event. And I'm also looking for my next role and looking for teams those who are building into agentic UX. So do connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you would want to have a chat about it and collaborate on maybe putting up some guide about agentic UX, because right now all of the information is so scarce and everyone is still learning. There is no set rules to what exactly is happening. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks our speakers. I think a lot of interesting thoughts, learnings for everyone. To summarize, I think there are a couple of ideas that are very, very important right now. So one, of course, there are no playbooks, right? So whatever playbooks, whatever we learned 1 year ago, a lot of that is probably not applicable anymore. So it's very important that we get into experimentation, that we get into trying out new ways of doing things, because there are now new pathways available, new approaches available that could be far superior to how we used to think about design, how we used to build products earlier. So getting into that experimentation mode, doing fast iteration is super important, and that can compound very, very rapidly. The other important thing, I think some of our speakers also highlighted, how we have to think in terms of reducing these handovers. So earlier we used to have a lot of handovers. There was a product manager, product designer, developer, and so on. It was sort of a waterfall thing. And now it is becoming where a single person is able to orchestrate a number of tools and get from what we need to build to the product pretty much single-handedly or with very few handovers. So that is what is the crux, and that is what will give us that 10x acceleration, because you reduce your iterations, you reduce all those mistakes that our speakers also pointed out, that you started with something and the developers ended up building something else. All that can be reduced, minimized if we reduce the amount of handovers. So using AI smartly to get there is the key. And the next thing that I think Radhika also highlighted, how to think about agentic workflows and how to do that agentic design. And one idea there that we need to think about is, earlier, whatever products we had were dead products. And what I mean by dead products is that products did not used to learn or grow or evolve on their own. So whatever the designers built or the developers built, that is it. And now if a user wanted something else, it has to again go through that entire cycle of development, and then that additional capability will become available. However, going forward, that is about to change. The products will be living systems, will be living products. Now, these are products that can grow and evolve without needing people working on it and making it grow, right? So dead products versus living products. And that is where role of product designers is going to be very important, that how will these living products look like? Because the same product, customer A, customer B, it will grow very differently. So after a few weeks of use, customer A would be interacting or looking at something very different from customer B, although it was built in a similar way. So that's how living products are going to be. And it is up to us, this community, to figure out how to leverage this power to build this entirely new category of products. So this is something that is about to happen in the next few months, years, and let's be excited. Let's work together to build this new generation, new breed of products that we are about to see. So with that, we come to the end of this evening. We have a few scanners. So we are building this community of people who are forward-leaning, who are thinking about these new ideas, who want to come together, who want to talk about these topics, learn from each other. So this is a WhatsApp group. We also have a website, a portal, AI at FlytBase. So we are doing a lot of work around AI native teams. How can teams become AI native, especially teams who started before all this Gen AI, who started more than 2 years ago in a world that was not really Gen AI. How can they transform themselves into becoming AI native?